Dear students, welcome to secondary physics. Today we would like to learn law of reflection of light. So let's start. Look at carefully. A bulb ray fall on the surface and reflects this along a certain path. Consider the plane surface. Suppose one of the ray coming from the bulb obliquely. This is called an incident ray. As it is plane mirror, it will reflect the ray. Thus the reflected ray will be reflected in this direction. Why in this direction? Why not here or there? This is because rays of light obey certain law of reflection when they strike any surface. Draw a perpendicular on the surface at the point of incidence. This line is also called normal. Here are the two laws of reflection that a light ray obeys. To understand the first one, we first need to know what angle of incidence and what angle of reflection are. The angle of incidence is the angle made by the incident ray with the normal. This is denoted by I. The angle of reflection is the angle made by the reflected ray with the normal. It is denoted by R. So our first law says that the angle of incident is always equal to the angle of reflection, that is, angle of I is equal to angle R. Here, as angle I is equal to angle R, so the incident ray strikes at the point, then the reflected ray will travel along the direction only so as to keep the measure are same as I, and I move the incident ray here, then the reflected ray will also move to keep the measure of R same as I is always equal to R. Okay, so this way about the first law of reflection of light. What about the second law? Second one tells us that the incident ray, reflected ray and normal drawn at the point of incident all lies on the same plane. So if I draw the scenery on the piece of paper, I will get this. Incident ray, reflected ray and the normal, all three are in the same plane of the paper. The second law tells us that they will always be on the same plane. For example, if the reflected ray is in this direction instead of this, then the diagram will look like this. The incident ray and normal are in the same plane of the paper, whereas the reflected ray is not in the same. This violates our second law, and hence this ray will not be reflected in that direction. This is just not possible. It can only be like this. I will be equal to R and will lie on the same plane.